Dvorak here with the Pure Ride Show here before the Belgian Waffle Ride. And we are partnered with Envy, and today we get to speak with Andrea Dvorak. All right, hailing from Boulder, Colorado,
That's right.
the Mecca.
That's right.
Oh.
There's not a day that you go out for a ride and don't get passed by like 128 people.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, exactly. And now, for you, this is your first time at this event, correct?
Yeah, this event, I've heard about it. I had athletes come through here. I used to coach actually second place rider a couple years ago, Eddie Anderson.
Okay.
Kind of followed his kind of journey here.
Awesome.
So I'd heard about it and signed up last year. And with the COVID kind of canceling all the events, it obviously rolled over into this year.
Nice.
So
yeah.
first time out here riding, and it has impressed me. You know, prior to being out here and actually riding the course, I had read the Bible and, you know, a lot of hoopla around the sectors, you know, very Flanders, Roubaix-esque. And I will admit, initially, I did roll my eyes a little bit. Having raced Flanders a couple times myself, I was like, now. Like, I know Flanders, and this is not going to be Flanders. But, whew, I'm so impressed. That first sector I pre-rode around Lake Hodges is Flanders. I mean, it's narrow, it's dicey, road furniture, wind, like fencing. It's crazy. You know, and then today I pre-rode that Black Canyon, that big climb on sort of the end of the course. And that feels like, obviously, on one side going into Ramona, your sort of home, civilization, things like that. But on the other side, you could be doing a race in France, you know. Not sure if you ever did like Tour de l'Aude or Ardèche. I mean, that's what it felt like out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Europe here in so many ways. So I'm really pumped to do this race because of that.
That's awesome. And I think you've highlighted so much of the richness of your career, right? And looking at, as a professional road cyclist for so long, you dig into the race Bible. I think many of the athletes here may have never been exposed to like, hey, we're going to Flanders, and if you don't know the race Bible, you're going to be, you know, I've heard of women racing in France and, you know, losing contact with the chase.
Oh.
And it's like, how do I find my way back to the
you
hotel?
are out there. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, kind of highlighting that, the difference between road and this kind of gravel scene. I was very fortunate to be a member of the 2013 women's U.S. national team with Mara Abbott.
Yep.
When we went over to the Giro and she took the pink jersey and won the overall. But, you know, we had a camp in Boulder prior to that. We rode together, kind of felt each other out as we were coming all from different teams. And each evening we went over the various stages.
Okay.
You know, and we each had a job. And Mara could only lose this much time to Marianne
Yeah.
Vos prior to the first mountain stage. You know, and my job on the first stage was dropping to the back of the peloton and, you know, making sure no gaps opened up.
Yeah.
You know, Lauren Hall, another teammate of mine, her job was to follow Marianne Vos in the downhill. Good luck with that. Yeah. But yeah, so it was a very kind of scheduled, organized, kind of really sort of worked upon, like, this is your job, this is your role, this is who's going to be the overall, these are our hotels, these are the transfers, here's the sort of kind of wheels for this day. You know, everything was planned out. Obviously we had a great support network with USA Cycling and the staff there. So, you know, all we had to do was ride and race kind of from start to finish. These events are totally different, especially for me. You know, I'm, you know, maybe kind of after you race, like, I'm paying my way here.
Right,
It's like,
yeah.
tires are expensive. Like, chains cost money now.
Yeah.
So that's always exciting. You know, now I'm you know, not racing full time. It's not my profession anymore. But you come into these events, and from what I've learned, like, people still take this almost just as seriously. I will admit, Unbound Gravel was my first gravel race.
Okay.
And kind of, I went into that being like, ooh, you know, this is going to be relaxed. Like, we're just going to have fun. Little did I know.
No.
At the start line, someone was like bumping me. It felt like Europe all over, you know. No, and to talk of like tires, tire pressure, bikes, you know, looking through the race Bible. So it's been definitely an eye-opening, like, oh gosh, maybe it's not a good thing I haven't done intervals in like 3 years. You know, I definitely reached that point after my retirement where I would go out for a ride. I still love riding, still love kind of going into the mountains and being out there for a long time. But, you know, I'd get to a point where I'd be like, you know, I'm tired. I want to go home. So I would turn around and go home, you know, as opposed to like, okay, I've got 3x20.
Right.
So I love sort of what gravel is bringing in the sense of like all the kind of types of riders. So those riders who are very serious, obviously still making a profession out of this, the impressive slew of mountain bikers coming to these events, and then sort of everyone else. This is a big goal for them, kind of challenging themselves physically, mentally, full-time jobs, kind of, this is a big part of their season. They're coming here with their families, and it's such a great feeling to be here and seeing all these people, looking at all the bikes, kind of just, I'm so intrigued. That's what I love about these gravel events, is like talking to all these people and being like, who are you? What's your story?
Yeah, what's your deal? And I think you bring such a rich story because, again, like you're here as a team of one, and coming from like, you had that support, you had I have a flat, I'm raising my hand, and you have the team directors in your ears, like saying
right
like go
turn,
a little bit harder,
windy. Exactly,
a little bit harder. And it's interesting you brought up like with Mara Abbott, like I saw Lauren Hall posted the other day, like, hey, at the Giro, her goal that day was to finish high enough so that your team car could move up in the caravan.
Yeah, I don't know, you saw that picture, she was sprinting Mariana Vos, who got unclipped.
Yes.
No, but kind of on that same note, I also want to add, in some ways this is harder.
How so?
Having been part of a team, it's somehow, I think it's true for a lot of people, when you suffer with friends, with teammates, it's easier. For me in many cases, especially kind of in that Giro I was talking about, like my race finished 5K from the top of the climb, and I turned myself inside out. Riders had been dropped prior to that. Mara was going to attack after that, so we were all suffering at various points in the race, but we all had that one common goal of winning the overall. And somehow, suffering with friends it's not fun, but it's easier.
Well, you have that united front, and so now you're bringing that to the gravel. But I also saw you did the Firecracker 50.
Oh yeah, no, I love mountain biking.
The 50-mile mountain bike race is to me in Breckenridge.
So little known fact: prior to kind of racing full time, I actually did go to law school and I passed the bar. So I'm technically a lawyer.
Congrats.
Making like $0, racing my bike for however many years I did. But yeah, no, mountain biking while I was racing road was always sort of, a Harry Potter to when I was in law school studying for the bar. I loved mountain biking. I loved it was, at least for me, very different from what I was doing on the road. It was just me and the trails, me and my training. There was no like, oh no, if I slow down, I'm letting someone down. And so I still love that about mountain biking. It really kind of just sort of check out and just ride in amazing places. So I still love going hard. I still love challenging myself. I still, love kind of going to crazy places and pushing my body to limits. So this is sort of the perfect kind of
amalgamation.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you did the 50-mile mountain bike race and you had done Unbound, what bike did you bring to BWR?
So I brought, I also kind of, being somewhat new to this, I did ask around, and sort of the trend seemed to be road bike. So I was really happy to hear that, actually. I had a Crux at Unbound, so not a true gravel bike, but a cyclocross bike. And there's something about the road bike. I'm very comfortable on the road bike. Like, I spent 10 plus years on it. I always joke, like, if I could have done the Firecracker 50 on my road bike, maybe I would have done better. I'm just very comfortable. When I train out in Boulder, I go to all kinds of wild places. I always say I abuse it, but I think it likes it. It likes going.
At least
to
it's used
places.
to it.
Exactly.
It knows what's coming.
So so I have a road setup, slightly larger tires, which I like. So it does give me that kind of road mentality, that mentality I had when I was racing. The more like, okay, let's look over the Bible. Let's kind of look at this climb. It levels out here. So there's a tree here, things like that I would do racing, that I learned from, all those years, and then having teammates like Kristen Armstrong, things like that. So I'm bringing that, which I'm excited about, because usually awesome. I come into these races being like, woo!
Like whatever. Well, I think it's really exciting to see you dabbling more into the gravel and bringing that wealth of knowledge, and I'm sure the women, it's awesome. You ladies are going to start in your own pod.
I love that.
Which is going to be easier than Unbound, where it's just like mayhem. And I'm sure, out there you're going to make little groups on the road. And so we're going to be following the whole time with coverage. And then I'll be here covering the finish. And so we can't wait to see what you're able to do in the peloton.
And kind of final note, I'm so excited. You're bringing, obviously, the riders like myself, Jess, Sarah, who have a kind of extensive road career. So you have the roadies coming in. then there's an impressive lineup of mountain bikers as
Yes,
well. I mean, I'm a little scared, I will admit, you know, but that kind of mentality is very different.
Yeah.
You know, their races are shorter. You have iconic kind of legend Katarina Nash, who is everything pretty much. So it's really, you know, you have Lauren Stevens, recently crowned national champion.
Yep.
Like, I will, you know, you guys probably have some favorites, but she's sort of a couple star favorite.
I think it's wide open.
Lauren
I think
DeCrescenzo, kind of an amazing comeback story herself. So it's really cool. And I love, like you said, that we race separately. So at Unbound, it was like, where are the women? Like, oh, there's Amity, but there's like 6 guys between me and her. So
You're like,
see ya.
go hard.
No, I love that, like, because the women's racing is awesome, and I love that it's going to be highlighted. So I'm very excited.
Good. Well, thank you for joining us, and hopefully we
pleasure.
get to see you at the other BWRs too.
Oh no,
there's
I
more
will
to come.
admit, after having pre-ridden some of this course, I'm like, actually, there's something to this.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you, Andrea.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thanks.